All right, let's dive right into this explainer. The reality of Peter Parker's latest journey is, well, it's remarkably dark and incredibly profound. We are looking at a massive turning point here, one that fundamentally alters absolutely everything we know about this character. This isn't just another fun, high-flying adventure. Instead, it's a very serious, slow-paced, and deeply immersive descent into an intensely personal crisis. We really need to take our time here to fully understand the gravity of what is happening. Because yes, Peter is facing a brand new day, but it's a day completely overshadowed by a terrifying biological and psychological storm. Just listen to the sheer visceral panic embedded in those words. I am totally out of control. Think about it. This is a hero who has built his entire identity, his whole life, around responsibility, incredible restraint, and perfectly calibrated power. To hear him actually confess that he is fundamentally losing his mind, losing his grip on his own actions, that represents an absolute nightmare scenario for him. We're not just talking about losing a fistfight in an alleyway. This is about him literally losing himself. Section 1. The mind losing control. So Peter's terrifying realization points to something far more sinister than your typical rogues gallery antagonist. We really need to pause and think about the sheer psychological torment Peter is experiencing here. When you start hearing taunting voices echoing inside your own mind, asking things like, "Did you miss me, Spidey?" you are witnessing a complete mental unraveling. It brilliantly and horrifyingly illustrates the terror of realizing your own mind is no longer a safe sanctuary. There is a literal intruder inside his head. It's a voice that knows his deepest fears, it feeds on his intense isolation, and it's turning his own thoughts into a brutal battleground. There's no way to just punch your way out of that. Moving into Section 2, suppressing the mutated DNA. When your own biology basically turns against you, where exactly do you go? Well, Peter turns to Bruce Banner, desperately trying to fix whatever is tearing his body apart right now. Let me really break down exactly what Peter is up against right now. He has an urgent, absolutely undeniable need to find a way to suppress his mutating DNA. We are talking about an uncontrolled biological alteration that demands immediate suppression, just so the guy can survive. The crucial point here, the thing that makes it so complex, is his desperate question, can you get rid of the bad aspects but somehow keep the good? It is literally the ultimate scientific and moral gamble. He wants to cure the disease, sure, but without losing the strength that makes him who he is. It's like trying to defuse a bomb while still keeping the timer running. Look really closely at Bruce Banner's response to this and just feel the sheer terror in his warning. If you see me with this off, run. That brilliantly illustrates what it implies to live with an uncontrollable, violent nature. Bruce, out of everyone in the world, understands the catastrophic cost of a mutation taking the reins. He is offering Peter a chilling front row look into his own potential future. And it's a future where he is a massive, deadly threat to absolutely everyone around him. Which brings me to a really profound question. What exactly is the monster inside? How does anyone even begin to decide what parts of their own nature are good or bad? When your biology grants you this immense world-saving power, but it comes completely intertwined with an uncontrollable rage or some alien darkness, where do you draw the line? It's not a simple medical procedure we're talking about here. It is essentially an amputation of the soul. The absolute crucial point here is the physical danger of tampering with your fundamental biology. You simply cannot reach inside yourself and surgically extract a perceived inner monster without seriously risking the destruction of your entire humanity. Trying to strictly dictate what is your good nature and what is your bad nature, that is a wildly dangerous, potentially fatal game of playing God with your own cells. It's a risk that could cost him everything. Now onto Section 3, the unseen threat approaches. Right in the middle of this catastrophic internal crisis, an invisible force starts threatening their entire reality. Just listen to Metzger's terrifying assessment of the situation. It appears we're faced with a threat we can't control, one we can't even see. Facing a completely invisible and uncontrollable danger is literally the ultimate test for a hero who relies so heavily on his physical prowess. You can't punch what you can't see, right? You can't outmaneuver what you can't even comprehend. It creates a suffocating atmosphere of dread, not just for us as the audience watching it unfold, but for the characters actually living it. And honestly, this is where the tragedy truly crystallizes for us. Peter is the only one who is immune to this thing, and that fact places a massive, isolating, and utterly heartbreaking burden entirely on his shoulders. He is effectively quarantined inside his own unique reality. Think about how heavy that is. He is the sole immune survivor in a world completely and totally blind to its own impending doom. Like Metzger points out to him, you're the only one who can sense it. Peter's unique abilities, his specific spider senses, are now the absolute only line of defense against this overwhelming, unseen force. It's a brilliant, agonizing paradox, really. His mutation, the exact same thing that is currently tearing his mind apart, is simultaneously the only radar capable of detecting the apocalypse. Section 4, Forgotten Friends at MIT. We're stepping into the deep, deep isolation Peter faces when he encounters Ned and MJ during their final semester at MIT. I mean, consider the sheer heartbreak of this exact moment. MJ looks right at him and asks, "You two don't know each other?" Peter is standing right there. He is watching Ned and MJ filming themselves, just happily going about their lives. And they are completely, 100% oblivious to his existence. They view him as just some random weirdo stumbling across their board. To stand right in front of your soulmate and your best friend and be treated as a complete stranger, that is a psychological torture far worse than any physical blow a villain could ever land. The immense psychological toll this takes on him is just staggering. We are looking at a completely fractured reality where his deepest bonds have simply vanished into thin air. Contrasting his incredibly rich past connections with this current agonizing solitude really highlights the true devastating cost of his journey. Yes, he saved the world, but the price? The price was his own life, his memories, and the love of the very people he sacrificed absolutely everything for. Section 5, Aunt May's Lingering Legacy. So, Peter hits his absolute lowest point. He is so broken that he ends up practically begging a man named Frank for help simply because he literally has nowhere else to go. But right in this absolute darkness, Aunt May's echoed words really anchor his fear. This whole thing can get really scary. Her voice from the past kind of validates his terror as he truly realizes that no one recognizes him anymore. He is a young man entirely stripped of his support system, facing a mutating body and an invisible apocalypse all at once. It goes way beyond scary, you guys. It is utterly paralyzing. And there's just this tragic, deeply emotional irony to the next part of her advice. But the people who love you. Hearing these words precisely when the people who love him have literally lost all memory of him is absolutely gut-wrenching. It's like the universe has perfectly engineered a scenario just to break his spirit, using the ghost of his greatest mentor to brutally remind him of exactly what he has lost. Yet, right here, there's a really powerful pivot. Love you because you're you. This pure remembered expression of unconditional love gives Peter the final emotional strength he desperately needs. He realizes he doesn't need them to remember him right now. He just needs to remember why they loved him in the first place. They loved the core of his being. And it's that core, that exact part of him, that will stand up against the encroaching darkness, no matter the cost. And this brings us right to May's critical warning. Never forget that, no matter how powerful you become. This serves as his absolute moral compass going forward. The mutinating DNA is essentially offering him a darker, uncontrollable power, but May's voice guides him away from letting that mutation totally take over his soul. Her legacy is the anchor that prevents the monster inside from fully taking the wheel. It's beautiful, really. Finally, Section 6, Stepping into a New Day. Peter finally finds his footing. He accepts his tragic, isolated reality. This line right here, it's absolutely vital. I'm not in high school anymore. This is a definitive, undeniable coming-of-age declaration. It marks his true evolution into a mature, entirely independent hero. The boy who needed constant mentors, who needed his friends in the chair coordinating his every move, he's gone. He is accepting the harsh, cold adult reality that sometimes you just have to face the end of the world entirely on your own. And this brilliantly illustrates his overall growth. Notice that momentary, confident levity of him asking about stretching. You a big stretcher? It's so good for you. Now, this isn't just a throwaway joke to make us laugh. It is a clear sign of his regained readiness. It is a mature hero, fully aware of the catastrophic danger lying ahead, taking a calm breath and limbering up before stepping out into the storm all alone. He has finally found his center again. So, let's think about this to wrap things up. If Peter is the only one immune to the external unseen threat, but a dark, uncontrollable monster is simultaneously mutating inside of his own cells, who is the real danger here? Is his ultimate battle truly external, out there in the city fighting an invisible enemy? Or is the most terrifying apocalypse happening entirely within himself? Thank you so much for diving into this incredibly complex psychological journey with me. It's a lot to process, but man, what a story.